Hello, 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 hello. You alright? Thanks for joining me. The missus is still ill, but you know what? I can't keep all this stuff to myself. Right. Yes, Iran. Just after we went off air on Tuesday, me and Aidan, we went on Twitter, as we do, just to relax, and it was just boom! Everything was going mental in America, in Iraq, as I'm sure you're aware, with American air bases being attacked by, and it was crazy Tuesday night. I shouldn't have stayed up because it was all nonsense. People were sharing fake videos and fake information and all this other nonsense. But what we know now is, I think it's been confirmed as best as it can be, that American air bases were attacked. That has been confirmed. Now, we will never know for sure, but apparently there was no deaths, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes and all that. But at the moment, the only information we can deal with is that there were no deaths, be it American or whatever. Some people were saying that some Iraqis were killed, but we just don't know. We don't know. Now, the interesting part of all this to me, obviously a lot of it's all up in the air, but we were promised by Trump a disproportionate response to any Iran attack. Now, where is that response? For some of you that live in certain Facebook echo chambers, you just assume that Trump's this swivel-eyed lunatic who magically found himself in the White House and doesn't have any redeeming qualities or ability to strategize or see things as they are. And obviously that's nonsense. Obviously. The man's an arse on Twitter, an absolute arse. But he is at least okay with some of his policy. And Trump went very, very quiet after the attack for a long time. And I think I know why. This disproportionate response never came. In fact, we are now, apparently, the US is ready for serious negotiations, according to the BBC. So why? What's going on? Why has America not wiped Iran off the face of the planet? That's kind of what we were all expecting. That's what Twitter was thinking, World War III and all that other nonsense. So why are they offering this branch of negotiations? Well, it seems to be, at this point, in my opinion, the flight that went down. For anyone who doesn't know, Twitter was awash with reports of the UAE hosting American airplanes and them launching. Now imagine, you're in the Iranian military, you're manning an anti-air gun, and you've just attacked the mightiest, most brutal army on the planet. You've just attacked them. Not necessarily their country, but you've just attacked their airbase days after attacking their embassy, which did happen, by the way. 100%. Let's not forget that. In fact, I think I've got it up here. Here's the pictures, guys. Don't forget, this is why this started. I know there's been tit for tat before this, but this is why it started. It wasn't protesters with rocks. It was people led by a man who had previously murdered civilians. So let's all calm down on the throwing rocks shit. That's a big fucking rock, and that is a very heavy rock right there. US Embassy, service entrance. Oh yes, look at these protesters. Lovely people. Lovely people. All they want is equal rights and all the rest of it, isn't it? Look at it. You got to respect this lad here, though, haven't you? Look at his face. He's cocked it up there. There he is. I tried to make it a bit bigger for you. Look at him. Woo! You would, though, wouldn't you? But yeah, look at him. Selfies and that. Protesters. Interesting. This isn't a protest, though, is it? This is the interior. It's not the deep interior, but this is the entrance area, and it is completely and totally burnt out and destroyed. They attacked American soil, then they attacked the airbase. So where was the reply? Well, it turns out it's looking like there was no need for a reply. Because 8 minutes into its flight, although it's reported here as 2 minutes, we don't know. It's all up in the air right now. This Ukrainian flight just vanished. Stopped tracking. No emergency signals sent. It did not descend. And we were told by the Iranian government that it was engine failure. Now, if we ignore the fact that a plane can fly with one engine missing, they're designed specifically to be able to do that, or at least come down and attempt to think, you know, They were like, no. They instantly said this, by the way. 2 a.m. their time, 3 a.m. their time. They're like, yeah, no, it was engine fail. We know why. I know it's the middle of the night and the sun hasn't even come up yet, but we know what's happened. This plane went down, man. And it's either a phenomenal coincidence that it not only crashed just after this strike happened and just after there was reports of American military in the air, either it was an amazing coincidence this happened and that it's all of its flight data stopped broadcasting at the exact same moment, or somebody was shitting himself. Some poor child, probably, in military terms, was manning an anti-aircraft gun. He knew that their general had just been taken out by a drone strike, and he knew that 2 hours ago you'd just attacked American air bases. So maybe some idiot kid was sat there so terrified of drones, so terrified of aircraft, because he would have been the first target. They're not going to be taking out hospitals and schools. I mean, they might do as a sort of a, you know, what's the thing, collateral damage. But he would have been the target. The surface-to-air artillery, that's the first thing that goes. The second Trump pushes that button and brings out the disproportionate response, he is the first in the firing line. So some lad was sat there with his finger on the trigger, shitting himself. It's the middle of the night. Heaven forbid he actually logged into Twitter to see the clusterfuck that was going on there. And it's my suspicion that he blew this plane out of the sky in a moment of pure fear. Which is now, amazingly, CNN is reporting it's fucking CNN. They've just in case you didn't know, sidebar, they've just had to hand out like millions. We don't know how much it is yet, but everyone understands it to be millions to the Covington kids. Do you remember the child with the MAGA hat on, who had grown men shouting racial abuse at him, and another one banging a drum in his face? CNN decided that he was the second coming of Christ. Well, they've just won the first case against them. So here we go with CNN. Ukrainian plane changed directions before it crashed in Iran and killed all 176 people aboard. Report says. Report says, does it? Where's this report come from? Oh, Iran. Iran's report, is it? They've not had time. Now, there's an interesting thing going on here. Iran is refusing to share the black box with Boeing or the US government, which I get 100%. But Iran has messed up here. They've killed 82 Iranians, although some people have got it higher because people have dual citizens, dual passports or whatever. You've got 63 Canadians, 11 Ukrainians, 10 Swedes, 4 Afghans, 3 Germans and 3 Britons. So there's a lot of cooked countries here who have been bending over backwards to support Iran. And Iran has just murdered civilians. You know, we assume most of them were civilians, weren't they? In terms of the situation they were in, they were innocent civilians, and Iran has just murdered them, it looks like. And in terms of Iran clearing its name, it's doing nothing of the case right now. It's not sharing the information with anyone. So I suspect that just after the Ayatollah was screaming about the slap in the face, the Curb Your Enthusiasm end credit music came onto him as someone just ran over, terrified, with a little piece of paper to say that some knobhead has just shot a civilian plane out of the sky. Which I get. I get Iran refusing to work with the US. It doesn't make sense. But Canadians? 63 Canadians are killed. Why is the black box not on its way to them right now? Or why have they not been invited over? So Iran said it was an engine failure, fire. That didn't explain the fireball that came crashing down, and now they're saying that it changed direction. I can imagine it did, straight down. Fucking CNN though, scumbags, just putting this out. This is why you're dying, guys. This is why no one cares anymore. For now, though, I would say ignore the stuff with the bullet holes and all that nonsense. Nobody can know stuff like that. That shit came ripping down. Anything could have created those holes and all the rest of it. No one knows. This stuff takes months to investigate, and by the looks of it, we're not going to get a proper investigation. But in terms of their refusal to share the data after killing civilians, I would put it on. Yeah, they probably shot them down, didn't they? Of course they did. Of course they did. Can you imagine? Let's get some comments. Alrighty from this small rock called Malta. Hello, David. You wouldn't believe the corruption going on here at the moment. Widespread power outages and political unrest. I'm moving back to the UK in the summer. I'm so sorry about that, David. Rick has said a wise man once said that there's never a coincidence. Well, there are coincidences, but this doesn't feel like one, does it? It really doesn't. I mean, Jesus, man. Paul has said the end is coming. Nice one, Paul. Thanks for your positivity, mate. And Happy Dog said Iran apparently informed the US that they were sending the rockets beforehand. Yeah, we've not had that confirmed, but it seems obvious. No, it doesn't seem obvious. It seems very odd that nobody was killed, and ultimately, you know, as much as they don't mind murdering homosexuals or beating women in the street for showing their hair, imprisoning the same women for 15 years for dancing, that's all internal stuff, and they don't seem to mind doing that. They also don't seem to mind invading countries around them and getting other Shiites on their side to influence the Middle East in a phenomenally disgraceful way, because we're so obsessed with ISIS that we don't seem to think about the fact that ISIS is Sunni, and there's a whole Sunni Shia thing that's been going on a while. If you're not aware of it, just imagine like the troubles in Northern Ireland, but magnified on a phenomenal level in terms of the unending hate and all the rest of it. But yeah, I don't know what my point is. But in terms of them though, they're not that stupid. They know that America would just turn them into a crater, don't they? So it might not have gone through Trump, but some sort of back channel. I don't see any evidence for that so far. I have seen it said quite a lot, but it does seem quite obvious, doesn't it? You know, America took out their general, their big dude, General Salamander, and sorry, I know it's not his name. We're just like calling him that as an act of disrespect. But they took them out, so it's like, you know what? We lose a fucking couple of buildings in some airbase we don't really care about that we're making Iraq pay for anyway. I don't know. But what I do know is this. Sanctions. That's what America's denounced. Sanctions. Which is not unreasonable. You are fighting each other in a war zone right now. You did just send rockets from your country at an American airbase, at 2 American air bases, and apparently into the green zone as well, which, if you don't know, the green zone in Baghdad is where the government buildings and foreign embassies are. So, you know, this is a time for sanctions, really, isn't it? But apparently Trump is going to make them worse. But I've got this for you, man. Trump announced that it is White House policy to have sanctions against countries who refuse to decriminalise homosexuality. This isn't about enforcing gay marriage. This isn't about the government paying for trans surgeries and all the rest of it. None of that stuff. This is just about, can you not murder people for doing bum sex, please? Can you just hold off on the bum sex killing? Until you do that, we're going to bring sanctions. Now, the list of countries where murder happens is epic. Far too big. And the list where it is severely restricted, you're imprisoned and all the rest of it, is even higher. I think it was like 40, 50 countries. Ridiculous. Now, America and the White House are hypocrites. They haven't sanctioned Saudi Arabia. They haven't sanctioned most of Africa. Well, not for this reason anyway. I am frustrated with that. But I would put it to you that Iran, that does put people to death for being gay, is eligible for sanctions anyway. Full stop. Regardless of all this war shit, regardless of the generals, regardless of the civilian that got killed on the 27th, regardless of the embassy, regardless of all the shit that's been leading up to this for years and years, regardless of you hammering on all the fucking time about how Iraq was an illegal war, move on, please. It's done. We know. Everyone knows. We're good on that. It's 2020. Deal with now. Reality right now. At the moment, UK and US forces are there because the Iraqi government allows us to be there. An Iraqi parliament has been voted for. It is formed legally, and they have legally allowed us to stay there at the moment. That's where we are right now. Okay? So stop fucking hammering on about the Iraq war. I know. I'm aware of that, right? But right now, we're allowed to be there, and we were attacked. I say we because UK forces are right there with the US. Our civilians have just been killed on that plane. You've got to think about this. So you know what? Fuck Iran. Fuck them up the arse, man. Fuck them for killing gay people. Like, I mean, I even get some backward ass country that's like, you know, technically it's illegal, or in a social sense it's frowned upon. All right, whatever. You know, that's how things go, man. I don't agree with you. I don't appreciate it. But you'll get there eventually. You can't just flick a switch on liberal freedoms. It doesn't work that way, man. These things take time. Of course they do. But fuck Iran. Fucking straight up killing people for their sexual choices, for how they get off. Jesus. No. And you know what? I think this is how you know Trump's a politician. Because he brought this in, man, which was largely ignored. I mean, obviously, here we go. It's met with criticism because there was the whole thing about trans people in the military. The military doesn't have to pay for trans people. Fuck off. It doesn't work that way. Oh, only Donald Trump could bring in a global pressure initiative to decriminalise homosexuality. Not even make it legal, just decriminalise it. Only Trump could bring that in and be shat on by the mainstream media. It's insanity. And don't get me wrong, I think it's going too far in America. I think gay marriage being forced as a legality was a mistake. I think you should allow individual churches to make that choice. I think it's fucking creepy, the government coming in and saying you have to. Because ultimately, if you're a gay dude and you want to marry another gay dude, or even a straight dude that's just super kinky, you want to get married, because that does happen. I quite like that. Oh, no, that's another conversation for another time. But why would you want to go somewhere where you're being forced by the government to be allowed to marry there? Fuck that, man. Go somewhere where they genuinely, wholeheartedly open their arms to you, which already existed. This is government's trick. They take something that's already happening, so they think there's a public thing for it, and then they just bring it in as law. It's fucking bullshit. When the left go on about, oh, you wouldn't have weekends without us. No, market forces created the weekend. Wealth created the weekend. Them fucking socialists claim victory for it. Jesus Christ. Absolute idiots. You did the same thing you always did. You just brought something in that was already happening. And yeah, I do think we're going too far. I don't think gay marriage should be legal in the sense that it is now. But I think it shouldn't be illegal, if that makes sense. It's just fucking freedom. It's got nothing to do with the government. I mean, I'd love to marry ourselves in a certain sense. And now that straight people can do the civil partnerships, you've got God out of the picture, because I want God's permission to stay with her for the rest of. I don't need God's permission to adore her, but I also don't need the government's permission either, and I don't want their blessing. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. The thought of some fucking bureaucrat standing there and allowing me, it fucks me off. It really fucks me off. But my little girl keeps asking about it, and so I might have to go through the civil thing just to see. We'll see. Rick has said UK will have something to say if it turns out Iran are behind the plane down in. Yes, Rick. That's the thing at the moment, isn't it? Which makes me think this is why Iran, Iran have been so vocal, haven't they? Shit posting. They were all noise, man. Oh, you're gonna regret this. You're gonna suffer. Every government department sending out threats, and then suddenly Iran go quiet when this plane goes down. Says a lot, doesn't it? Says a hell of a lot. Now this could be Boris's first real test, because he needs to do something about this. They killed British citizens. He needs to do something. He needs to say, again, regardless of the war, regardless of the LGBT stuff, he needs to stand with him. But then again, It's a balancing act, isn't it? Rasputin Ghost has said, like cannabis. Yeah, I think cannabis should be decriminalised, but certainly not legalised. We don't need government involved in that. How much did the Canadian government lose with weed? Was it 48 billion? Canadian cannabis losses. Let's just check this out quick before we go. Oh no, sorry. My mistake. It was. Oh, there we go. The Ontario alone. Ontario government lost 42 million selling cannabis last year. Organisation racks up expenses over the last year. Yeah, because they had this stupid thing with a lottery for who's going to sell it, and then obviously enhanced regulations. Everyone's going back to the private illegal sector. The same thing's happening in California. If you grow weed, if you have a farm, you need 3 different licenses. There can be no animal hairs in your product because it's classed as a medicine. The regulation is just stifling beyond words. And, so I think with that, cannabis should be decriminalised. But I think gay marriage should have been in this. It's the same thing. Although it's harder to quantify the marriage thing. Because it's not like weed where you can just say this much money was lost. How does only a government loses money selling drugs though? Jesus. And as I said when I first saw this story, and we trust these people to run our healthcare, and we trust these people to run our schools. Jesus, man. Imagine the NHS completely separate from government. Completely separate. All that taxation gone. Get rid of all the taxes on alcohol, cigarettes, food, the shitload of money you give them every week. Bupa's £50 a month. I pay more than that in taxes for the NHS. My national insurance is more than Bupa, for fuck's sake. It costs more. Imagine if the NHS was running and you just signed up for it like you did Netflix. Can you imagine? No more government. Fuck off. Fuck off. Done. We can still have a national health service. Of course we can. But you just opt in. It could run way better if politics was taken out of it, if elections was taken out of it. Completely gone. People see privatisation as this instantly corrupt American system. No, America has the same problem. Government oversight, government intervention. Oh, what about the insurance companies? The American medical system is one of the most regulated industries on the planet. That's the problem, dickheads. Anyway, I'm not getting into that. Happy Dog's saying he'd rather smoke a joint than a bloke. Depends on the bloke, though, doesn't it? That Aquaman, he makes me a bit confused. The black market is thriving in Canada. Good thing too. Yeah, good man, good. Why not? Why the fuck not? You know what? People have managed to distribute cannabis on the black market for generations now. We've done really well at it. Really, really well at it, man. Now, if you just decriminalised it, oh my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Remove the criminal aspect from it. Be amazing. Right, I'm going to boogie it. Rasputin's Ghost has said, why would anyone send their kids to government training schools for 12 years to let strangers mould their minds? That's a really good last point, actually. Because I debated over this for a long time. I was terrified of sending my little girl to school. Because she's amazing. She's really clever. And I know all parents say this, but she is. She is like a whip. Everyone, whenever we meet anyone in the park, we go somewhere, they're always knocked away by how sharp she is. She's phenomenal. She's got the best sense of humour as well. A quick aside, we got this, I got Google Chrome. So when I stop casting, it's linked to a certain album. That's there's no bum pictures or, nothing embarrassing. It's like stuff you'd show your mum. And the album itself goes through her growing up. And there's one that's first day of school. And she goes, first day of school. And then she keeps randomly doing it when complete. Like there's one where she's dead ill. And she goes, it's the first day of school. And she does it just to get me, just to make me laugh. And I think the shit that's going on for her to have that timing and awareness is just like, And I was terrified that school was going to ruin that. Terrified. I literally did not sleep for a month before she started going there. I didn't. I was shocked. I was so scared, man. And I was getting like an hour or two nap during the day because I'd be up all night, and then I'd just be like, oh God. And you can see my videos when I was doing it. My bags were just insane, and I was so stressed. But the other side is, if I'd have homeschooled her, I'm not agoraphobic, but I'm not a fan of going out. I'm not a fan of being out, talking to people and all the rest of it. So she would have lost something. She would have lost a hell of a lot of socialization. She would have lost meeting people who aren't like me, meeting people who are nicer than me, meeting bullies, meeting knobheads. The only way for her I can't give her that. I can't. As much as I tell myself I'll take her to groups and stuff and activities, I won't do it. I won't. I'll do other stuff to make up for it. I'll go hard teaching her reading and numbers and all the rest of it, but I don't do that for her, you know? So, the only place, the best place she can get that right now is school. The best place. And she can learn to deal with people. Now, my plan was, I went on the website, the school I found, I went straight for the diversity thing. And on the diversity page there, and I'm sorry for people that have heard this before, the only thing it said, apart from the standard boilerplate thing that they have to print, the thing that they put them there themselves was about boys falling behind, which is undeniable. The education system is failing men on a phenomenal level in the Western world, and it's getting worse every single year. All this shit about women in STEM and women's educational things, and it's like, no, they're already winning. It's the boys who aren't getting the opportunities, but that's another thing for another day. But the fact that her school, that was the thing they chose to acknowledge, and that's the thing that they're focusing on at the moment, was the reason I picked that specific school, even though I've got a little girl, even though that doesn't benefit. But I thought, if that's their attitude, good. The other thing I did was I downloaded the first 2 years of the rough goals. I can't even remember what it was called now, but there was certain targets, and I'm not saying we managed it, but I did my very, very best to give her an awareness of that. So that hopefully the work and the writing and the stuff, which has gone through the roof, by the way. She's only been there since September, and fuck, she wrote poo the other day. She's just writing poo everywhere. But the fact that she's constructing that word herself and writing it, and she's amazing. My hope is that because she's not worrying about the schooling side of it as much, she can focus on the friends side of it. And in terms of the indoctrination, in terms of feminists convincing her that she's less than men, and all that stuff that they all that weird white supremacy that they sort of hold on to, I've just got to do my best to fight against it, haven't I? But she needs to be socialised, man. She ain't getting that at home. Imagine spending all day with me and turning out okay. It's not going to happen, mate. Harry Hewitt. Oh, Dave's. Right, I'm going to go. Harry Hewitt hasn't stepped away from being a royal. He's clearly being pushed. Yeah, that is like an ultimate go woke, go broke, isn't it? First she fucks off her whole family, ghosts her dad, joins the royal family, causes loads of shit there. The brothers aren't talking anymore. And now she's like, you coming to America with me to be alone and miserable. Go woke, go fucking broke. It's all there, isn't it? She's hammering on about we're going to raise our child non-binary. Well done. There, that's child abuse, by the way. If it has a dick between its legs, it's your job to teach it roughly what that means. Not pretend that it's not male. Jesus Christ, man. You don't have to teach it to be a mindless, sexist, rapist thug. There is a middle ground. You teach them to be a good man, Megan. A good man. With everything that means. Very woke, very broke. Although not in the physical sense, just not in the financial sense. I'm sure they'll do just fine. They'll be on boards of several charities, and they're not gonna have to worry about money, of course. And she'll do a few movies after a couple of years once it's all died down, and make a fortune for cameos in some stupid TV show, whatever's popular at the time. Nah, they'll be fine. But emotionally, philosophically, broke. Word here is they're coming to Canada, where we pay for the royals. I know, yeah. Not transgender, relax. I don't know what that means. But thanks for the stuff about my kid, though. I do worry about that. I really genuinely do. It's my biggest worry of mine, man. I especially as well as at the parents' evening, they said that she was doing really well. Oh, I was so happy. I was so proud. They said she's dead funny and she takes care of the other kids if they're struggling. And I was so proud of her. But I don't know, man. And the only feedback I had was like, dude, I know this isn't on you. You know, I didn't say just a teacher, but you're a teacher. You're not the head teacher or whatever. You're not the admin. But, you know, if there's any way you can feed back to hire some men, for God's sake, please do it. Because I can't be the only male role model in her life. I mean, I'm trying to be less of a mess than I used to be, but Jesus Christ, she needs someone else. Anyone else, you know, and it's like, even if she's gay, she still needs positive male role models to teach her how to interact with men in a healthy manner. That's the whole point, isn't it? You know, if she's straight, then who is she going to be attracted to? Who's she going to want to be around? Hopefully, it's going to be someone like the male role models. And Jesus Christ, again, I am not the ideal in that regard. Right, guys, I'm going to boogie. I'll see you in a bit, though. Thanks for joining us. In fact, I'll see you tonight. Oh, thanks, Rasputin. She needs you. I know, man. I'm trying. I'm trying to be a dad as well. I'm not some woke, like here's the thing, man. Before I was a dad, sorry, I'm gonna get off on this. I am gonna go in a sec. But before I was a dad, I didn't really give a shit about male attributes and being a man and all that other nonsense. I was quite I was an effeminate hipster. That was you quite accurately described me as an effeminate hipster. Yeah, but which is fine, absolutely fine. But at the moment, but I got a kid now, and a kid doesn't need two mums. Or a mum and a sort of, big. She needs a fucking dad. She needs a male. She needs a man to teach her what a good man is. Otherwise, how the fuck is she gonna have a good relationship in her life? I don't want her to grow up hating men. I want her to grow up enjoying the joys of getting on with people. The exact opposite of what feminism teaches you. You know, the really, really get in there and be happy, and have a healthy, comfortable, respectful relationship. And the start of that is by being a fucking, you know, dad, innit? We're somehow avoiding daddy issues, so good luck with that anyway. Guys! Sorry. I'll see you in a bit. I love you. In fact, I'll see you tonight for Aiden. Bless him. I'm sure he's going to give you an update on his war with the pedos.